my question is more so on the side of, just rebutting off of all of the information that everybody just said, because I think the message always gets misinterpreted, and there's a huge disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation, and it seems like we're all not working together. So I just want to touch on a few things. So first with you, Alderman Payon, I have to disagree, because when we think about crime and public housing, we also have to address the outside fact. When we talk about guns and drugs, those are not created in our public housing communities in Annapolis. Obviously, they come from somewhere else. And when a lot of these individuals get locked up for guns, we start to realize that they didn't even have a gun license. So how did they get the gun? See, that's the first thing that we have to talk about. And we have to talk about how did the drugs get to Annapolis, because these drugs aren't made in Annapolis. And then we have to talk about the systemic racism that has been put into our society, because now I'm going on West Street and I see a weed shop, and I'm thinking in my mind, wow, now I only got to get a medical card. But this 15 years ago, my peers, our parents, uncles, brothers who lived in the community were catching felony charges for this. And now we are watching people profit off of this, as other people were disenfranchised and they were stripped of so many of their rights just for selling marijuana. And now that's like a slap in our face to see that people are actually making profit off this legally. And there are still people who are locked up for marijuana till this day. So that's one of the issues. Then on top of that, I witnessed that all of you talked about education, and that is great, because, we do have to change our traditional education system, because the education system is so corrupted, and our education system was never created for people of color, especially at the integration, because we witnessed that it pertained to white students more than it pertained to black students. But back when we had separation, our black schools pertained to black students. But we had to integrate because our black schools were so underfunded. This is what we're witnessing today with our HBCUs. Our black schools are still underfunded. So how are we going to change that? And I see that, Brother Nat, I see that you said that, we have to do it ourselves. Well, it's so hard to do it ourselves when we have to face 1,000 obstacles. And I see that you highlighted the stock market. Well, I'm really invested in the stock market, and I try to get a lot of my friends invest into the stock market. But it's so hard to invest in the stock market when your funds are so low, when you have to juggle between either am I going to pay this rent or are we going to have food in the house? See, these are the things that we don't put into perspective. See, it sounds easy when we say it, but when we are asking people who are struggling on a consistent basis to do these type of things, it's really hard for them, because it's am I going to choose this decision to help me out, or if I don't choose this decision, should I choose the safe decision so I don't even have to worry about losing money or losing my job or losing my house? Situations like that we don't think about, because once we advance a bit, we forget about the people who are behind us and how they function. And I think that's one of the reasons why I can still function so great, and I can still help my people by going back and mentoring and having my nonprofit organization, is because I still ask them questions. I still ask them their opinions, and I still look at the time when I was struggling down Robinwood and how my struggles were similar to their struggles, and how can I give them a new mindset so in the future, as you said, strategic planning, in the future, they can be in this position. But we all know the pandemic has showed us that nobody knows what the future is actually going to bring us. People cannot afford to put $5,000 in the stock market and the stock market crash and they lose the money. People think about stuff like that. So it's better to stay on the safe side. Yes, you should invest your money. I do tell people, if you can invest it, invest it. But if you can't invest it, you're always going to be in that particular area where you cannot go up higher. You cannot climb the ladder, because there's so many obstacles that you have to face because of systemic racism. And back on the topic with defunding the police, as you said, after that, reallocating the money. But I don't see why there was any confusion, because the funding and abolishing are two different definitions. We defunded our school systems. We defunded the healthcare systems. It's easy to say it like that because we all understand that our school systems don't receive the same amount of money. But we always talking about police and how can they change, and how can community policing work, and how can these systems correlate with helping low-income areas where crime is very prevalent. Well, we keep on funding the police more and more, and crime keeps going up. So we have to understand that funding the police is not really the solution. The only solution to poverty, the only antidote to poverty, is opportunity, giving these people more resources, more chances to do something better, to better their life.
I also wanted to jump. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, good